Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. This week, I was lucky enough to chat with actress Bethany Antonia. You can see her right now in the new Netflix series Get Even. We chat about how she got into the business, what she loves about acting, how she got the role, and much more. It's a fun interview, and I can't wait for you to hear it. So here we go.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for making time today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's super cool. I've been listening to a few of your podcasts.
I hope that's good news. That's always weird for me. I've also seen you on television, so we're kind of even.
We're on the same page.
So, in looking at your bio, one of the things that really caught me in reading interviews with you was that you hand wrote a ton of letters, if I'm reading this right,
Yeah.
to get your first agent. Something like 300 letters and got like two replies, one of which became your agent. Am I getting the math on that right?
Yeah. So I had I was quite young, so I started acting when I was 14, and I'm 22 now, so that was like 8 years ago. 8 years ago, and we had me and my family had no idea how to get into the industry. It's just something that I feel like if you're not brought up around those sorts of people, you just are clueless to.
Yeah.
And so I remember it so clearly. I'd been watching this television program, and I always used to like mimic the actors on the screen and like take off what they were doing. And one of the days I noticed that there were children in this TV show, and I was like, oh my gosh, they are my age. I want to do what they're doing. So me and my mum Googled how to be an actor, and we found this like local drama group, and I went along. And it was like a training and casting ground for young actors. It was called the First Act Television Workshop, and it was a place that we would go every week, and we would also have access to auditions or like castings. And I went along to my first audition. I'd been there a couple of months, and I got the part, and it was in this short film. And I'll never forget, it was like the coolest experience for me at the time. I was just fascinated. And I said to one of the older actors on set, I was like, how do I do this all the time? Like, I want to quit school. I want to do this now. And they were like, oh, well, you have to wait until you're 18 and go to drama school, and then that will be 3 years, and then you'll maybe get an agent. And I was like, what? I don't want to wait that long. To me, that felt ages away. And no one would tell me how, like, no one seemed to know how I could go around doing it there and then. And the leader of this drama group that I was going to, I sat with him one day and I explained that I really wanted to do it now. And he was like, well, if you want to do it, you need to get an agent, and like I can help you with that. I can give you some names or whatever. But I was basically just a really impatient kid. So I got home, and before the night was out, I'd made a list of like 100 agents, and I didn't have an email address or anything at the time. So I just wrote all these letters, and they just sort of said like, hello, I'm Bethany and I want to be an actor. And that was it. And yeah, so I wrote out all these letters, these handwritten letters, and then I wrote out loads of emails, and then 2 of them got back to me, and one of them became my agent.
Do you think being young when doing that kind of helped you hold on to that no, you're being ridiculous. Why I'm doing it today. Why can't I do it tomorrow?
Oh, for sure, 100%. I was just totally stubborn. It was more than like it's frustration at not knowing. It felt like someone was withholding this secret from me that everyone was doing and I didn't have access to.
There's kids in shows, there's no teens, then there's adults. There's just no teens.
Yeah, and I was like, why am I not doing what they're doing? But yeah, those early days were really fun. And like I remember every day we'd like get a response off someone, and it would be like, no, get a bit more experience. And every day it just felt like it was further and further away from happening. And then finally getting an agent was just like the most exciting thing, but also so funny because then back then I was like, I've made it. That's it. I'm an actor now. And I thought that was all I had to do.
So moving forward from there and starting to get roles in things like Pincushion or now in Get Even, can you talk a bit about that transformation from oh my gosh, there are kids on television like me, I could be doing that as a thing, to kind of discovering what acting kind of means and getting to inhabit roles and all the things that people love about doing this, what makes it a creative thing people can't let go of. Can you talk a little bit about
Yeah.
really getting into a role for the first time?
Yeah. So I got my first agent when I was 14. And like I said, I thought that I'd made it. I thought that was it. And then I started going to auditions quite regularly and quickly realised that it wasn't as glossy and glamorous as it looked, and that it was a lot of rejection. And from quite an early age, I realised that I wasn't necessarily the ideal child that was going to be picked up and thrown in a TV show. I didn't have the right look, or I didn't have the right energy that they were looking for, or whatever. So I think early on, I realised that if I was going to do this, it was going to be because I loved the buzz and couldn't do anything else. It was never going to be because I was going to be in work consistently. And so from those early days, I remember just thinking, you have to do this because you love it and not because of anything else. And so then I did bits and pieces throughout school. So from like 15 to 18, I was doing like short films and plays and musicals and having the best childhood really of just getting to do roles for fun. But there was never the pressure of it being an income or a job or anything like that. It was just because I loved it. And then I went to college and I did musical theatre at college, and everyone in my year group was going to drama school. And I remember, again, being the only stubborn one that was like, I'm not going to go. I'm going to do it on my own, and I'm going to just try and see if I can do it now. And that was mainly, again, impatience. I didn't want to wait 3 years. The idea of having to wait 3 years to do a job was heartbreaking. And the day that I left school, I got my first television role in a soap over here called Doctors. And it was this really meaty guest role, and it was like the best thing that had happened to me at the time, and I was so excited. And that felt like the day I entered the industry then, because I got a proper role and it felt like this big responsibility, and I just fell in love with it. And I loved the process. I loved getting to break down the script. I just loved everything about it. And so, yeah, for me, that felt like the day that I entered the industry as an actor, and that was what I was going to do forever. And then, yeah, so since then, it's just been more of the same, just slowly but surely getting there and enjoying every single role that comes along.
When it comes to Get Even, of course, talk a little bit about you're getting to play Margot Rivers. And I know if I'm remembering, your character name changed from the book. Was the book something that you were aware of or had read prior to auditioning? Was this a case of going in and going, I think I know what this property is?
Yeah, so I hadn't heard of the books or read the books before the initial audition. But from the very beginning, we obviously knew that it was adapted from a novel. So after my first audition, I bought the books and read them. It's actually really funny. It was not funny, but I was doing a play in Cornwall at the time of the auditions, and I was having to get the 6-hour train back to whatever. And the Amazon Prime didn't deliver to where I was staying in Cornwall. So I emailed the author of the show. And I was like, hello, hi, I'm auditioning for your show right now. Could you, by any chance, could I buy the book off you? Because I really want to read it. And she was amazing and sent me the book to read this was just before the chemistry read. So I'd had a couple of rounds. So I wasn't just this crazy woman emailing her. I'd had a few rounds. And she actually was not involved with the show at all. So it was quite nice for her to have this person email her who was auditioning for her show.
Oh, that's great.
So I read the book just before my chemistry read and fell in love with it. I think the books are incredible.
And so, can you talk a little bit about? I don't want to. There's a mystery to the show, and I don't want to spoil it for listeners. But can you talk a little bit about getting into the character of Margot and what was given to you, what you brought to it, and how you made it your own?
Yeah. So Margot's one of 4 girls in the show, and each of the girls has their own sort of alias. You have the boss, you've got the rebel, the princess, and then the genius, and Margot is the genius. And she's kind of the brains behind the operations that the girls do. She does all the tech. She makes them these burner phones that they have to communicate with in school, these really retro phones. so she was a super fun character to play, super, super cool. And she got this like triple monitor setup in her room. Her bedroom was like the coolest thing I've ever seen. It was like the best house to film it. It was just so cool. She's just got like this amazing setup, like a proper gamer girl. And she was so much fun to play. But she also has quite a sad storyline. She goes through a bit of bullying in the show. And so those scenes were quite difficult to film on some days, mainly because it just was a glimpse of being back at high school, to be honest. But she's got a really nice progression in the show, and you kind of, by the end of the series, you get to see her transform. She goes from this really shy, intimidated child, basically, and she finds these group of girls who really make her feel like she belongs somewhere. And by the end of the series, she's had this whole transformation, and she knows what she stands for. She knows who she wants to be. So it was really nice to get to do that.
I know for me, I mean, I love mysteries and murder mysteries and whodunits and all that. So the show setup just seemed immediately intriguing. But I mean, I grew up in Northeast Texas. My high school looked like Footloose, basically, and so anytime I see kids in like, in uniform jackets and piping and everything, it's always a little odd if it just seems like a completely other world to me. But at the same time, school is school and bullying's bullying. And so you can immediately relate. For you being an actress so young, did it remind you of your high school or school experiences to go back like this? Or was it just an odd experience that you missed out on being an actress?
Yeah, I think what's funny about this filming experience was that there were so many of us in the cast, and as soon as you put like a bunch of 20-year-olds back in school uniform, you've got a high school again. They all just turned back into children. So it really did feel like we were back at school, and that we were, because we were all living together as well, and the school that we were filming in was this huge boarding school. It really did just feel like we were all at the boarding school, and that was what we were doing for 3 months. But it did take me back. It was really nice. And do you know what I actually think? I did miss out on a bit of that kind of school experience through doing acting so young. Definitely the social side of things. Weekends were taken up by learning lines or going to auditions or prepping for auditions or whatever. And actually getting to do the show for 3 months with a bunch of people my own age was actually like the school experience that I sort of missed out on a little bit. And it was really nice to just have that social side of things. So I think I like reclaimed my lost experiences by doing Get Even.
I know just the way television works. I'm sure your role on Doctors was you get to set on your day, your lines, you hit your marks. Often there's not 3 months of living together in rehearsal and filming. Was it? Do you feel like it was unique or beneficial to get that sequestered kind of team atmosphere, bonding atmosphere while making it? Is that something that you get on a lot of projects?
Yeah, I think it's crucial on a show like this, on a show that's set in a school and that is about individual friendships, because I think that chemistry can take so long to form that if you are just living and breathing together, it's there on the first day. Mm-hmm. So as soon as we'd done that first read through, it was like, yeah, just get the cameras out. They're good to go. And I think it is unique because a lot of projects, I think the older you get, the less likely you are to want to spend 3 months in the middle of nowhere with True. The rest of your cast, because you have, families and people, responsibilities that you want to go back and you want to do, and you can't just up your life and leave. So it definitely felt like not a bucket list moment, like a box tick. It felt like something that is really nice to do in your career and something that I definitely wanted to do. I know when I started out, these programs that I used to be obsessed with were these sort of children shows. And I'd always dreamt of that experience of being on set on one of them and doing the whole family thing. And it lived up to every expectation. It was definitely everything that I thought.
Well, I hope everybody will go check out Get Even. It's on Netflix now, and everybody can go give it a watch. And I can't thank you enough for the time today.
Do.
Really appreciate getting to talk to you. So are you? I'm assuming that. Are you in the States? Are you overseas? Where are you based?
I'm in England. I'm in the UK. I'm in England. I'm in Birmingham, which is like the second biggest city after London. yeah, I'm in England.
So you're having a bit of a different experience maybe than I'm having in the States right now. But
Yeah.
hopefully you'll stay safe, and we'll get to see more of your work here in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, and you. Bye.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.